Hey everybody, this is a special Bible podcast. I don't know, I'm calling it Discovery because I'm going to try something I've never done before, and it's not the normal way that I would do a Bible study in terms of sharing online, because normally what happens is I study the Bible, then I get a definite picture of exactly where we're going and what parts we want to share, and then we trim out the parts that we don't want to share, and we give you a very focused picture of what God is saying, and so it's all leading to a point. This is actually something different God's put on my heart. It's called Discovery, in that God has put on my heart to study a passage, and I was just going to go into my study and sit down and read and do all the normal study, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do it as a live Bible study, not in the sense that I want you to sit down and take notes right all the way through. Everything I'm going to say is going to have a powerful impact. No, I actually just want you to join me as I work through this. And I can't tell you what we're going to actually learn because all I'm doing is I'm just going to open up the passage to see what it says. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity of joining with me as we do that, because the Lord been put on my heart. I've been reading Isaiah 53. I've been reading some books by people like F.F. Bosworth on healing, and then I started another book. Here it is here. Derek Prince on atonement, and he was talking about some things in Isaiah 53. And as I was reading those, I thought, I'd really like to study that a little bit more deeply. I'd like to, I really felt a challenge to actually go into there and look a little bit more strongly at them. And then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to include you as part of that Bible study. And so just follow along. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go. We will study things in this, which is a little bit different, that I might study and find it doesn't really add anything, or it doesn't really make much benefit to us. I just want you to follow what I'm doing. Just one second here. I'm just stabilizing my desk here. I noticed that it wasn't moving, and I just wanted to lock it in so that I can lean on it without it bouncing around too much. I want you to join me. This is my aim. All right. I was thinking, how do I study Isaiah 53? I'm going to take. So first of all, let's make this a little bit more official. Ta-da! We are going to do a Discovery Bible study, the very first one, and what we're going to do it is on Isaiah chapter 53, and in particular, I'm going to be looking at these verses. So what you're going to do is, a lot of the stuff we're going to do, I'm going to be bouncing from a Bible. I'm going to be putting some notes up. I'm actually going to make some notes myself, not for you, but for myself. If I find some things, I might be adding some things in myself. So it'll be a little bit different in that. Isaiah 53, we're going to look at, I'm going to just narrow it down to verses 4 through to 6. And if I could call that up on my Bible program. Yeah, let's call that up. Isaiah 53, 4 through 6. So let's just pray and ask God to help us and lead us through as we look at these passages, verses 4 to 6. Father, I thank you that in the name of Jesus, we love the way the word gives light. And I'm asking that as we study this, I'm asking for revelation and for you to speak to me. I thank you. Faith comes from hearing, and hearing from the word of God. Quicken these words to me for faith, and that, Lord, I can act upon them and put out my faith and see these verses manifest themselves in healing for my own body and life for my own body, healing in the mind and the soul and my spirit for me, and, Lord, for many others, as Lord, these truths are worked into my life and out into others. Holy Spirit, guide us now through this in Jesus' name. Amen. So this is very different. What I'm planning to do is Isaiah 53 verses 4 to 6. I want to study these in some detail, particularly the Hebrew words that are behind many of the phrases here. And then what I'd like to do is by the end be able to, with confidence, make my own version effectively. I want to be able to write this again, but with each of these words in my own words and in my own expression. I have an understanding of what the concepts are, that I feel strong enough that I can read through all these passages, not just echoing what I'm hearing the translators have said to me. I'm now able to put my own spin on everything with an understanding of what it is. So I'm not trying to write my own translation. This is not the Lewis translation. This is just a discovery translation of how what these passages mean to me. So you're welcome to sort of follow along. That's what I'm asking in this Bible study. It's not like hey, I want to give you, I was talking to Caleb about this a little bit earlier, and I said, amazingly, a very popular program that you can watch on some streaming channels is a train, and they pick trains that go through long journeys, like across the Nullarbor, or there's trains going across the northern part of Europe and things like that, and they stick a camera on the front, and they basically, no editing, no commentary, no description at all, just a camera, and as the train goes, you just have that live stream, and they're like that. They can go like for 15 hours, or I think some of them even days of just constant footage of what's on, and people watch it. People put it on. Now, I don't think people sit there and just watch it. I think they put it on and have it on whilst they're going about their work. But it's like just a constant stream. So there's a little bit of that. I thought if people can watch the scenery of a train for hours and hours and hours, I thought, well, what about watching someone do Bible study? So that's what I'm sort of thinking. You can actually watch me and just follow along as I'm doing my Bible study, but I'm not asking you to necessarily sit there and give it total attention. Just have it on, and just because I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to learn. Sometimes I will go down a dead end. Sometimes we'll go down a path where I won't. No, that doesn't really help me much. So I actually don't know where we're going to go with this Bible study, and I want you just to go on the journey with me. But you can just sort of have it sitting there. I don't mind if you had this and you just had it while you're doing another task, and I will talk through and work through what I'm learning as I go, and then we'll see at the end what we can summarize and what we've received. So I'm not saying there's an amazing truth in here that's going to change your life. I know there'll be truths because it's the Word of God, but I don't know where they are and what they're doing. I do know that there's one part I want to start with, and I have already started this, because in this book, what's this? Put this keyboard over here maybe so I can switch over a little bit easier. So in this book by Derek Prince on the atonement, he spoke about some words from Isaiah 53, which grabbed my attention, and it was the study on the word iniquity. And when I read those, I thought, you know what, I'm really quite I'm curious about that. It piqued my attention, if that's the correct wording for this. So it's from Isaiah 53, and I thought, you know what, I want to follow that up. That's really what I want to do. I want to check it out for myself. So I started doing that, and then I thought, I actually now want to study a lot more. So it stirred me up into this particular word on the description of the definition of the word iniquity and what it meant. And I thought, well, I want to look into that. And so that's where we're starting. So we will go now, and you can follow along with me, and just as if you're on that watching this train journey, go down the rails, and we're not sure, hopefully not off the rails, go down the rails and see what we do. So we're going to start. What I'm going to do is I will take, this is from the New American Standard Bible, which is the reason I use this particular translation. It's NAS 77, which is actually the same as my written Bible here. So that way, everything I've written is exactly the same. There's, for instance, this is the New American Standard Bible issued in 1977. There is an update in, let me see it here, in, I don't have the other one on this particular translation, but I think 1995, they issued a new update. So I've actually just got exactly the same one. So here, I will maybe switch around between different translations, but at the moment I'm just sticking with that because that helps me to tie it in with what I've got here, and then it helps me with my study. All right, so let's look at what we've got here, Isaiah 53 verses 4, 5, and 6. What I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to copy this over into my notes. So I'm going to do verses 4 to 6, and we'll just do the standard format there. Okay, copy that. Let's go back to here. So now what I'm doing, I've just started a note page on this, Isaiah 53. Let's actually make that verses 4 through to 6. And I just wrote the word Bible study in there, so I'd have something to, there we go, come on. I don't know what you can see, how much of what I'm doing here. Okay, verse 4. Oh, what happened to verses 5 and 6? Well, there's our first little hiccup. This is what my Bible study's like sometimes, people. You know, you got to... Okay, well, let's just copy that. Verse 5. Pop that in. And we'll go into verse 6. All right, so as you can see, this is not going to be your quick fire Bible study either. I'm not going to feel pressure to keep things moving too fast because that's not the idea. We're on a train going across the Nullarbor. We're not going to go 400 kilometers an hour because you're getting bored. I'm just going to work out my way through, and you're just going to get the benefit of following through and learning at the pace that I am actually doing. So we're going to go verse 6. Now what I'm doing here though is I'm putting these three scriptures here. I think, can you still read that? Hopefully you can still be able to work on that sort of thing. Hopefully you can call it up on an iPad or something like that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to work through the keywords here and get the Hebrew definition, explore them around. Let me give you an understanding of how I look at language. I understand every word has its meaning in context, and not every word can be just equally applied in any context. Just because a word means something in one place doesn't mean that you can then take it to mean that in every place. All right, in English we do this all the time. We use context to filter things out, and we know what we're doing. For instance, let me just say an example would be the word love. Okay, so I say, I love my wife Christine. And we talk about, what does that word love mean? Well, it means to be fully engaged and devoted to, sacrificially give myself for. I would lay down my life for her type love. I prioritize her above all because, you know, she's my wife. And when we made that vow and a covenant, I've actually entered into covenant with her. So when I say I love you, it's a covenant, chesed, which is a Hebrew word, means faithful and loyal and loving and kind and merciful, all linked in together. That's what I mean. I also say I love ice cream. Now, if I said the word love, I love Christine and I love ice cream, I'm obviously using the same English word, but the context of it changes the depth of the meaning totally. So just because I use the same English word, and if I looked up a dictionary definition of love and it has all those meanings, I can't then use that range of definitions and force it into every situation. Each situation by its own peculiar circumstances and context will put restraints or open up that word, or will sort of say, oh, that word's used in a very unusual way here, but it means exactly that. I love ice cream, meaning I enjoy it, I prefer it over other things. But am I going to enter in a covenant relationship with them? Am I going to die for it? Am I going to give my life to it? Of course not. I never intended that. I didn't say I love it. I used the same word, but everyone would understand if I say, oh, I love chocolate chip ice cream, or I love peppermint ice cream, or I love this. You know, people realize you're not saying something. Though I do understand when people say they love coffee, I'm not sure exactly how far they would go for that love. That love could get a little bit weird. But do you understand? The word love you can't just find a definition and then in every instance every definition, every aspect of that definition applies. And the same as any word. And so when we're doing foreign languages and languages I'm not familiar with, or you're not familiar with, or even ancient languages, it becomes hard because sometimes we can find a definition of a word and it doesn't always carry through. So I'm aware of that. One of the other things, though, is it's often very difficult to get an exact representation in English of a word. So one problem is that a word has a variety of meanings and not every meaning applies in every circumstance. Number two is that there is often not a good English exact equivalent because the English word can carry with a whole lot of understanding and connotations that are not in the original, or the original has some nuance that is just very difficult to find an exact word. So sometimes the English the translators would use 2 or 3 different words just to try and combine them. I mentioned one just earlier. There's the Hebrew chesed, which is the loyal love of God. And you notice I'm already using 2 words, loyal love or loving kindness, because there's not one English word that really represents that appropriately. It just doesn't fit the concept that is built into that word chesed. So what you have to do is say, okay, there's a problem that not every definition fits everywhere, and secondly, there's often not good English words that match with what the Hebrew is done. So what I tend to do is I rely on the experts in these areas. I lean to certain Bible dictionaries to help me, because they do have a better understanding of all the nuances and all the different areas. And there's one particular dictionary I've been using a lot, which is the Word Dictionary. What's it even called? Because it's online. I know the New Testament version is by Zodiades, a Greek name, but he was a great Bible scholar, and there's now a full dictionary for the Hebrew and the Greek. I call it Zodiades because Zohhiates or something. But I think he only did the New Testament part. I think the Old Testament has been done by other scholars, but I tend to just, because it's one volume on my Bible study program. Anyway, the reason I go to him and that particular Bible dictionary is because it's very strong on trying to give you the context definition. And it doesn't just give you 7 definitions and say work it out for yourself. It will give you the definitions in particular context. So that helps me to say, how is that word being used? The other thing I like to do is to see how it's used broadly, because that way it frees me up from being stuck with just the one English translation. I see how that word is used in multiple circumstances, so I understand, that's different to the English word, or that's very similar to the English word, but either way I get, that's more like this English word in these circumstances. And so by getting a multitude of the ways that the word is used, it gives me a sense of the roundness and the largeness of that word, and then using Bible dictionaries to help me narrow that down to, hey, finding out what it really means in this circumstance can help give me a bit more focus. But as it is, I'm not a Hebrew Bible scholar. I don't have the familiarity of the languages. I can pronounce words, but I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing them correctly. I have done a small amount of study in the Greek New Testament. I went to a night Bible school to actually do a course on how to read New Testament Greek and be able to study that. But I've never done anything like that in Hebrew, so I'm at more of a disadvantage. I can't tell you what the letters are and things like that. But that doesn't have to stop you from studying these things. That doesn't have to stop you. If you can take this same approach, you can use the experts. They're readily available. And secondly, you can allow yourself to read this widely how this concept or word is used, and it would just build an understanding. So go with me on this journey as we just try and discover some of these Hebrew words and the concepts behind them and how they fit into this. All right, so that's my introduction here, and so here we go. So I'm going to just use this. Surely our griefs he himself bore, and our sorrows he carried, yet we ourselves esteemed him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was pierced through for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The chastening for our well-being fell upon him, and by his scourging we are healed. All of us like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way, but the Lord has caused the iniquity of us. Just can't quite see. Let's see if I can. The iniquity of us all to fall on him. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is just work through. I'm not going to study every word. I don't find that very helpful. So sometimes I might stumble across something, but I'm not going to probably do and now and yet we. Ourselves maybe esteemed him. I'm not sure how far we'll go, but this is part of the journey. We just don't know. Sometimes you look into something and you just don't know how what you're going to find. I'll tell you a really interesting one this is from this book. Derek Prince, and let me just put this on big screen so we can see. So this is from page 34. It's something I didn't know. So if you can look on here, my notes on there. Surely he himself, he has borne our griefs. It's something interesting. grammatically, the Hebrew word for surely contains within it the understanding of he. So when the Hebrew word is used, you don't need to say Hebrew and then the word he. The surely, he, is built into one word. You don't need the second word he, that like we do in English. English, we need surely and we need the word he. But in this passage, the Hebrew word for he is written as well. It wasn't needed. Grammatically, it's not necessary, but it was written. And often when you repeat something that's unnecessary, it's to give emphasis to it. If I say, I want you alone by yourself to do this. To say alone and by yourself is not necessary unless I'm really trying to bring an extra emphasis to something. If I'm trying to. So this is what Derek Prince said. Because the pronoun is put in here, the he is emphasized twice, first by the preceding word surely, and then by the pronoun he. So in other words, it's like surely he has borne our griefs. So it's not an extra little addition. It's surely he has done it. He has done it. He has done it. Just a little thing that's pointed out in this book. So they're things that I'm not necessarily going to be able to discover unless you have a really good understanding of the language Hebrew. So sometimes you just have to read a book. And I would suggest, something like, the reason I'd really, I'm very happy to support someone like Derek Prince is because it's an area of expertise of his. He was educated as a scholar of Greek and Latin at Eton College and Cambridge University, and where he held a fellowship in ancient and modern philosophy. He also studied Hebrew and Aramaic at Cambridge University and the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. All right, that allows me to say when he says something, he's pretty good on it. All right, this is what he was studying before he was a Christian. It was he was born again after he started some of these studies. So he was already the first time he read through the Bible was because he was studying ancient texts and things like that. So he read it as an intellectual exercise as part of his studies, not because he was in any way interested in becoming born again. But then when he got born again and the Holy Spirit filled him, he would read that same Bible text and suddenly it becomes alive and he says, wow, this is so different. So the reason I would rely on him and his references here is because I rely on his scholarship, and it's I think you can agree with me, that type of level of scholarship is pretty strong. All right, he's not someone like I could say, but I'm echoing. He is saying because he knows. So I want us to let's start this process. All right, enough talk. You say, hey, I've seen enough training. Let's get outside of the station and let's move along here. So I'm already going to start with. Let's pop this up here. Surely our griefs he himself borne. Let me just check that was in verse. Surely he has borne our griefs, which is taken from the King James. So I'm going to just let's just take a note in here, and I'm just going to write emphasis. Yeah, just a little note for myself that the he there has the emphasis. Surely our griefs he. So in the English we've split it up. Surely and he have been split up, but surely he has borne our griefs. Okay, so I'm just going to take the word surely, a little bit dangerous, and do that, but let's start with griefs. All right, so how are we going to do this? How would I normally go about this? First of all, I'd go to my Bible program, and I'm going to switch it over from New American 77 to this one here. It's the same text, but it has the Hebrew numbers. If you're new to this, they took a dictionary of all the words, Hebrew words that were used in the Old Testament, and then they numbered them 1 through to multiple thousands. So that's all that means, is the number H403. H403 means the 403rd Hebrew word in the dictionary of Bible Hebrew words. And that just means that everyone can then refer to that and be on the same page. We're not accidentally getting the same wrong. You can sort of see a little bit here. Hebrew 2490A. You can just see that reference there. He was pierced. The A means that when the New American was doing it, they've had to sort of split some of the words and get a little bit more clarity there. So sometimes, they've had to be very careful. You also notice here, he was pierced through. See, pierced through has the same Hebrew word. You say, oh, did they repeat the Hebrew word twice? No, it just means that the Hebrew word for pierced through is a single Hebrew word, but we needed 2 English words for it. So you can often see sometimes that the English word has the same number. I'm going to help going off the chapter. And sometimes there's no word. If I put it right up the top here, for yet we ourselves is one Hebrew word. That means it was one Hebrew word, and we've put the context and the understanding needed 3 English words to make that work. Yet we ourselves, H587. So by putting this here, I can actually begin to work through. So let's actually start with surely. And so here we go. This is the word study, and the word is aken, an adverb meaning surely, truly, or yet. It basically gives expression to something or some situation that was unexpected. Jacob was surprised to find the Lord's presence where he had slept, and Moses was amazed to find that Pharaoh knew of his killing an Egyptian. It is used to show contrast with what was expected against all odds. It's actually interesting. I have made my first discovery. That's not what I expected. That's not what I expected. I would have said, to me, surely means you can rely upon this. So that's interesting, isn't it? Surely. Okay, that's right. It's used to show contrast with what was expected against all odds. The servant of the Lord would receive from the Lord. This use is found several times after the verb to say, I can't pronounce it, amratai. There we go. There's our use. Isaiah 53 verse 4 is part of that. Sorry, just get my head out of the way. There we go. This use is found in several times after the verb to say this. Isaiah 49:4, 53:4, Jeremiah 3:20, and Zephaniah 3:7. Okay, that's an interesting phrase. I'm going to add that into my notes now because I wasn't going to. Expression to something that was unexpected. This is not what, hey, surely, it's he. It's an expression of, he has taken our pains. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. So there's a little bit of, it's against, he has done it. Surely he's done it. He's done it. It's like when you know your team's playing the top team in the football, and after the and you actually don't even listen to it, you don't follow it because we're just going to get belted, and then afterwards you find out the score and you go, oh, surely we've done it, surely we've won, surely we've overcome them. Then you want to go back and watch the replay because you've done it. Surely it's not expected. So it's got surely they won. Surely someone can ring me and say, surely your team has won. See, it's got that. You can be confident in it, but it's not like your team's done it. It's surely you've won. So I think I like that. My first discovery in this. So what I'll do here is I might just grab the definition. I'll see if I can get the word. That grabbing that blue word can also do strange things. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to pop it over here. We're going to start with the word surely. Oh, I probably want a bigger font than that, don't I? Let's try something that you'll be able to see. Actually, surely, we're 18. Let's go up to 24 and make them nice and big for you. Okay, does that make it a bit easier for you to read? I don't know. Okay, surely equals. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go back here, H403. I'm going to put that number in there so that I've got future reference if I ever want to look it up, if I know where I've got it from, H403. And I'm going to just paste that in. All right, it's gone in a bit smaller, gone down to the other size font. But anyway, so an adverb means surely, truly, yet. It was basically gives expression to something or some situation that was unexpected. Now, this is what I'm going to do now because this is my nature. All right, this is why you're going to have to get used to this if you're going to follow along. This is going to be a bit of a long train journey because my nature is I don't generally just accept things that are told, even by someone who's in authority or who speaks from a position of authority. Like, for instance, I really appreciated what Derek Brent said, but then I looked it up. I checked it out. He told me something about the word iniquity, and I was like, that's really interesting. But before I would share that boldly, I tend to say, let me go back to the original resources. I'm pretty confident that he's got it right, but I need to hear it. It's part of my teaching gift is I need to hear it from multiple sources and sources without bias. This is like Bible dictionaries and things like that. They're not trying to sell me anything. They're just telling me this is what it means. And then I can confirm that, and then I have the confidence to go forward. So it's part of, if you're going to join me on a Bible study, you're going to have to get used to, we don't just take things, we then explore around, we dig around, we just make sure that what we've said is accurate. So let's go back to this Bible verse. And so it says, so Jacob was surprised to find the Lord's presence where he'd slept. So now I'd like to go and look at that verse. I appreciate with with the Bible program, this is easy. So I can, so Genesis 28:16 gives an example of this. All right, then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, now, I'm sorry, you've got this narrow thing in the middle. That is I'm not going to jump around. That's just, I don't normally have it that big, but that's so you can read it with me. And I don't normally have all the numbers on there, but that just helps us to see that. In fact, you know what I might do? Just for our sake, I'll go back here for a second. I'm going to turn back to my normal Bible. And when we want to get the numbers, we will go into this mode here. Okay, so surely, so we're on surely. You'll notice just a slight difference. When he had slept, here, it's a little bit easier to read now because it doesn't have all the numbers in there. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Okay, so there was he didn't go to sleep expecting to find it. He discovered it in his sleep. So that's interesting. So now, Moses was made to find that Pharaoh knew of his killing an Egyptian. It's Exodus 2:14. But he said, get my beautiful face off here for a second. But he said, who made you a prince, a judge over us? Are you intending to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? Then Moses was afraid and said, surely the matter has become known. Yeah, I can pick that up. That's really cool. Or in 1 Samuel 15:32. Then Samuel said, bring me Agag, the king of Amalekites. And Agag came to him cheerfully, and Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. Phew. There's not the shock, but or maybe he was a little bit surprised that he was being brought forward. He was thinking maybe he's just going to be killed. So surely, so there's an element, I didn't expect this. Surely, this is good. Surely. So it's interesting. I hadn't picked that up. Let's see if there's any others in here. It was used to show the contrast with what was expected. Against all odds, the servant of the Lord would receive from the Lord. This looks interesting. Isaiah 49:4. But I said, I have toiled in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing in vanity. Yet surely the justice due to me is with the Lord, and my reward with God. I don't really follow that as clearly. Yet surely the justice due to me is with the Lord. Can I just read that again? Against all odds, the servant of the Lord would receive from the Lord. Against all odds, he would receive. Now, to me, I'm not really following this verse. The other ones were a bit clearer. So, okay, this is where I'm going to do. I'm going to dive into it. So I actually go into the verse now, and I like to look at it from other translations. So let's find. These are all my Bible translations here. The Net translation, New English translation, I find it quite a good translation. I like it's a modern translation. I like it. But I thought, I have worked in vain. I have expended my energy for absolutely nothing. But the Lord will vindicate me. My God will reward me. Now, no sense of where the word surely is in that. Yet surely the justice due to me. But the Lord will vindicate me. There's the surely is in that understanding. All right. Now, what I'll do now here, I'm not really getting this so clearly. So what I normally do now is I go back to a less literal translation, a more free-flowing translation. So I'll try and pick up the Living Bible, New Living, Message. Okay, so let's start with the Message. But I have said, I worked for nothing. I've nothing to show for a life of hard work. Nevertheless, I'll let God have the last word. I'll let him pronounce his verdict. New Living. But my work seems so useless. I've spent my strength for nothing and to no purpose. Yet I leave it all in the Lord's hands. I will trust God for my reward. Living Bible. But my work for them seems all in vain. I have spent my strength for them without response, yet I leave it all with my God for my reward. Okay, all my strength, I've spent all my strength, yet I leave it all. For a vain thing I have laboured, for emptiness and vanity my power. This is Young's. This is the opposite of the free flowing. This is now very stilted and exact as possible. It makes it hard to read often. And vanity, my power I consumed. But my judgment is with Jehovah, and my wage with my God. It's interesting. A lot of them don't even use the word surely in there. So it's a word that's brought out through. They're using other English words because the word surely doesn't really fit. It is here in this literal translation here. I said, I've laboured in vain. I've spent my strength for nothing in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Jehovah, and my work with my God. So now, okay, so I sort of got the sense of that. I'm completely worn out, but my time has been wasted. But I did it for the Lord God, and he will reward me. He will take up my cause. Surely he will look after me. Surely he will. It's not looking like that, but surely he will. Come on, surely. Surely he will. Surely. What's an example? I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to paraphrase this and what I would feel. What the word surely is embodying into me. So I'm thinking it through. He would surely God will come through in this. Surely he will. Come on, he's got to come through. Surely he will. Yes, he will. He will come through. I don't care what it looks like. He will come through. It's not expected, but he's going to do it. Sure, he's going to do it. He's going to do that. So now I just need to work. I've got to go back into my. I've got to find the word surely. Surely, going back into the dictionary here, and I'm reading it again. Against all odds, the servant of the Lord would receive. Against all odds, the servant of the Lord would receive from the Lord. Okay, that's against all. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but he says surely it's going to happen. So it's going to happen, but it's not when the top team is playing the bottom team, you say, surely we're going to win this weekend. It's the bottom team is playing the top team, but their star player's back. Surely we're going to win. Surely we're going to win. It's not expected, but we're going to do this. We are going to do this. This team's going to come through. It shouldn't, but it is. Surely so the certainty is a surprise. It's a certainty, but it's not what you would expect to be the certainty. Okay, so I just want that's how. So I've dug around till I've got a feel for this word, how it's being used. Now I'm sort of got a sense for it. I don't know the Hebrew word properly, but I'm getting this sense of this against the odds, unexpected. It's not what. How did you find it? Surely, and then we've got this. It's used several times after the verb. I don't get that. This is the part where I don't know how this all works. I'm just trusting. But here, it's interesting. Isaiah 53:4 is one of these words. So Isaiah 49:4 is included in this. And now we've got Isaiah 53:4, which is the word we know. But now we've got two more. Jeremiah 33:20. So let's have a look at that. 33. Jeremiah 3:20. Surely, as a woman treacherously departs from her lover, so have you dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, declares the Lord. Surely, as a treacherous woman departs. Wow, so that's a bit of a... Surely as a treacherous woman departs from a house, treachery departs from her lover. So have you dealt treacherously with? So I'm guessing there, the surely is, it's not the norm, it's not what you would expect. A woman should stay with her lover, but she treacherously goes. It's against the flow. This is not what I'm expecting. She's broken what you would expect. Surely she's going against the flow. So that's how I'm seeing that. Oh, back to the same verse. Zephaniah 3:7. Surely you will revere me, accept instruction, so her dwelling will not be cut off, according to all that I've appointed concerning her. But they were eager to corrupt all their deeds. Now, I'm sort of, that's surely you will revere me, accept instruction, so her dwelling. I don't find this an easy passage. I'm not understanding. But you know what? I've got to the point where I'm sort of, I think I've got it, and I'm going to move on. So I'm sort of at the point. I've dug. I've got confidence in it, so I'm going to move forward. So now I just go and check my notes. An adverb meaning surely, truly, it was basically gives expression to something or some situation that was unexpected. Okay, so yeah, so it's not what you'd. Surely our griefs. Our griefs he has himself bore. So my notes here, so I'll just I often just type in my notes, just so that I can know when I've gone from the dictionary to my thoughts. Otherwise I think, oh wow, the dictionary said exactly what I'm thinking. No, it's just, this is what I've written in here. So this was not expected. That's sort of not saying much. The Messiah would take our well, at the moment it says griefs upon himself. Okay, this is unexpected. Okay, so surely our griefs he himself bore. Surely. So there's a sense of it's not the certainty. It's he has done it. I didn't say, look what the Messiah, the Son of Man, has taken them. All right, so there we go. Are you already thinking, oh, this is a long time and I haven't, all we've got is a couple of, well, that's it. You've got, this is what this journey is going to be, people. All right, if you're thinking this is too slow moving, sorry, so you can see my hand. It's been nice having you, but I can't promise this is going to get any faster. Okay, if this is too slow moving, you just need to go to one of my other messages, and one of my a message which is aimed at getting through things quickly. This is a discovery. All right, so we will just work through it. You will see the pace that I work through it. You'll see the depth. And it's just, I just want you to be part and enjoy. And the benefit though is, I didn't know that the word surely would carry a little nugget of truth in there. I just thought it was the word surely. Yeah, we can be sure of this. No, it was like, it has an element of unexpected surprise to it. Surely he has done it. Sort of funny, isn't it? Okay, so if you're enjoying this, keep it going. All right, but if this is too slow, feel free to go and read, watch one of my other messages. Whereas 45 minutes we'll get through a whole sermon. I don't know how long this is going to last. It's taking a little bit of time, isn't it? We're only going through one word. So even for my own sake, I want to keep moving because I don't want to be here all day. But let's move to the next one. Surely, I've got that. Surely our griefs. So let's. Okay, griefs is. Go back to my Bible. I'm in the wrong passage now because I got into Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah all right. Get our numbers again. Okay, now the New American. Surely our griefs he himself bore. So let's take the word griefs. Hebrew number 2438. I don't know what that little O above there means. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing here. Must remember to keep you up to date. No, indicating disease or sickness. Okay, let's copy that, and in we go. Griefs. Oh, he. Dear idea. Trying to find my Bible passage. There we go. Where is it? 2483. And my notes. A masculine noun indicating disease, sickness. Why would they use the word griefs when it actually means disease, sickness? It's a bit of that's unexpected, but it's not totally unexpected because I knew this was here. I've got this marked in my Bible already. These are a couple of words that I've already studied, and I actually did a Bible study just recently on Isaiah 53, talking particularly about griefs and sorrows and how they actually are healing. So I'm not going to go into a huge amount here. So I'm actually going to point you to go to our YouTube channel, Breakthrough Church, Breakthrough Melbourne, and look for the teaching on Isaiah 53, where we can be certain and know that it is God's will to heal. And I deal with this as a sermon, as a message in here. But let's just take it now as a bit of a study, just for the sake of completeness. It denotes some kind of illness, a serious illness. It's modified and indicating illness as strong or hangs on. It's used of suffering brought on by the loss of one's wealth, an evil disease. It's used figuratively of the ever-present evil of Jerusalem that could not be healed by seeking out foreign powers for healing. Idolatry was an especially heinous sickness or vigil before the exile. Okay, so it's sort of it's sickness, but it can actually refer to sort of figurative things as well. So interesting, none of the definitions there are grief. It's funny that the actual word translated grief doesn't get a mention, as I could see, in the actual whole of that dictionary definition. So I'm guessing that the word grief is taking it on a path that's not actually sort of really indicated here. And as but let's look at it. Denote some kind of illness. 1 Kings 17:17. Now it came about after these things that the son of the woman of the mistress of the house became sick, and his sickness was so severe that there was no breath left in him. Okay, he was sick. The word definitely means a physical sickness. 2 Kings 1:2. And Ahaziah fell through the lattice in his upper chamber, which was in Samaria, and became ill. So he sent messengers, said to them, "Go and inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Zekron, whether I shall recover from this." From this sickness. Okay, so it's not talking about griefs in these areas. These two verses clearly talk about a physical sickness. First, he became sick. Second, he fell, and he's obviously damaged and wounded. Deuteronomy 28:59, and the Lord will bring extraordinary plagues on you and your descendants, even severe and lasting plagues, and miserable and chronic sicknesses. All right, here's one I might just jump into. I think it's pretty clear that this word means physical sickness. But the reason I'm just going here, I'll go down to the New American so we can stay consistent here. Our number is, sorry if I go back here, Hebrew 2483. All right, so when I go into this one, I'm looking to see where 2483 is, because plagues, it's not that word. Plagues, it's not that word again. Miserable, chronic sicknesses, 2483. Okay, so it's the last word. Chronic sicknesses. Let's have a look at what that word chronic means. Oh wow, it's a root sort of word. To stand firm, trust it. Okay. Not important for Isaiah. I'm going to sneeze. Get everything on this discovery. message. Sicknesses, definitely. 2483. Okay, sicknesses. He's talking about sicknesses. So we can pop back in there. Suffering brought about loss of one's wealth. Okay, Ecclesiastes 6:2. A man to whom God has given riches and wealth and honor, so that his soul lacks nothing of all that he desires, but God has not empowered him to eat from them, for a foreigner enjoys them. This is vanity and a severe affliction. Okay, so he's wealthy, but he gets so sick. I don't know where the word is, so let's just jump into there. Given riches and wealth and honor, so that his soul lacks nothing. I'm looking for the number. I'm looking for the Hebrew number which matches the number that I know it's in here. They're right down the bottom. This is a vanity and a severe affliction. There we go, right at the bottom. 2483. So he's so sick he can't eat. Yeah, okay, that's what I take from that. So let's go back to Isaiah. I'm going to just go with this. A masculine noun indicating disease, sickness. And I'm going to put my note. This is physical sickness. Physical sickness. Yeah, I think that seems to be what the word generally means. Now, what I'm going to check here is like, that's a little bit weird that the word griefs is used. If it's physical sickness, is there something I'm missing? We can just go back and look at all the other translation. New King James, which follows the King James, obviously. King James, surely has borne our griefs and carried... Do you want to see my face while we do this? Surely has borne our griefs. So the King James, followed by the New King James, follows this path, and then the New American picks it up, but none of the other translations. Holman bore our sicknesses. The Jewish Bible, it was our diseases he bore. The Message, it was our pains he carried, our disfigurements. New Living, it was our weaknesses, it was our sorrows. Okay, so the Living Bible tends to take the emotional sort of soul aspect of it, not physical. Young's, which is very literal and very, written a long time ago, but surely our sicknesses he has borne. So it takes that. Sicknesses, good, and do the suffering, the pain. So as our pain, he took our diseases were put on him. The Amplified, let's have a look at that. That's interesting. Amplified is always interesting. It just gives sometimes it gives all the options. Surely has borne our griefs. Okay, so going with the King James. Sicknesses, weaknesses, distresses. So I said, listen, there's a whole range of things. So sometimes the Amplified can be helpful. Sometimes, do I use the Amplified? Yes, I've got it. I use it all the time. But do I find it helpful? Hit and miss. In the same way that when I say I love ice cream before, you could not put all the definitions in there. It does not work to just take any definition and at any time the word is used to do that. And Amplified does that a little bit. It tends to just take, hey, this is how it was used in other places, so we'll give you all the definitions, and sometimes gives you the feel you can pick and choose anything that fits any time. It doesn't work like that. There's it gives me an understanding in this verse that, yeah, there's a wide range for this meaning beyond physical sickness, so I should take that into account, but it's not always helpful to know what is needed here. All right, so that's just my take on the Amplified. So helpful, but we just can't take it. Look at this. I've never seen this one before, except in the Amplified. Carried our sorrows and pains, yet we ignorantly considered him stricken, smitten, and afflicted by God, as if with leprosy. I don't see anyone else. Maybe I will find that out later in leprosy. It does have a link here to Matthew 8:17, which is a little helpful here. It's verse, because it says Matthew 8:17 is quotation in the New Testament, obviously, in order that what was spoken through the Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled. He himself took our infirmity and carried away our diseases. Interesting. Let's just go back there, because 8:17. Let's go to the verse before. I'll just read it from the Holman Bible. When evening came, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed. He drove out the spirits with the word and healed all who were sick. Okay, let's just have a look at that Greek word for sick. There's two numbers here. Can you see that? I'll go to the New American, see if it makes it any clearer. Were ill. Can you see that? Two numbers. 2192 and 25. So I don't know what. Echo, have. Okay, it's two Greek words into one English. Were ill, have, echo to have. They possessed it. And kakos, they were sick. Diseased. Miserably sore. So yeah, there's a few different, but sort of flows through evil, sick. What I would expect there to be physical, and so in the fulfillment of that verse, it says, "He himself took our infirmities and borne our sicknesses." What Greek word did they choose to use for the translation of that? You have to. He took our infirmities. So I'm going to see the Greek word for infirmities, asthenia. Astheniae. Not doing much to prove my Greek with that. Infirmities, infirmity, weakness, diseases, sicknesses. All right, so it can mean non-physical things. I take it with weakness, but it mainly means most times here something physical. Let's turn 1 Timothy 5:23. No longer drink water exclusively, but use a little wine for the sake of your stomach and your frequent ailments. Talking physically. Okay. So here we go. That the translates the verse in the New Testament, which was a quotation of this, used again the same sort of concept of physical healing. Okay. So that gives a picture. Now I'm curious here. That there's something you might not want to do, but I'm going to do it. You're on the train. You get to join me where I'm doing. I'm interested. Okay, so how would the Hebrew... The main thing I'm looking for is what would the person who wrote it have hoped for the person reading it to understand? I really don't care whether 99% of the dictionaries say the word is sickness, physical, if the person who wrote it was really trying to convey the word of emotional. So what we're trying to do is say who's made the mistake here. Has the English translator and the King James translation gone to an aspect of it that's not really what was meant for, because they thought, oh, this must mean emotional or sinful type sickness. He wasn't talking about physical, not taking into account the fact that by the time Matthew was writing his gospel, he actually obviously saw it as a physical. He said this is in fulfillment of Jesus healing people physically, and he quoted a word which the Greek word physical. Another thing to look here, my aim is to find out what did they really mean, what did they say. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at a translation in here. I'm going to trust it's here. All right, can you see this one? This will thrill your heart, won't it? This is the Greek Old Testament. What does that mean? It means that scholars, before the New Testament came out, scholars translated the Old Testament into the Greek language because the Greek language was more common and it was better to have the Hebrew translation in Greek. So they did a translation, and that's called a Septuagint, based after the number 70 or 72. Septuagint, number of people that were used to translate this. Anyway, I won't get caught up into it. There's a translation, and it was done by people before Jesus' time. How do I know it was before Jesus' time? Because Jesus and the disciples and the Apostle Paul quoted it as part of their translation. When they said the Bible says, you can actually tell that they're quoting the Septuagint at times. So, what did the Septuagint, which was translated closer to the time, how did they perceive it? Trouble is, I don't have the Septuagint in English. I've got the Septuagint in Greek. So these are the Greek words, and I'm just going to guess a little bit here. This is terrible. But I'm trying to work out here and that's the hamartias. That's the, I think, sin. So that's sin. Our sins. Hang on, make sure I'm in the right verse. Surely our griefs he himself bore, and our sorrows he carried. So, surely our sins he upon himself, on him, and what's this 30? Sorrowing, tormented, our torments, us to cause our suffer or pain, agony, and agony, our agonies. Okay, so maybe that's where the King James people borrowed a little bit from. I don't know. Maybe I don't know where they came from. It's interesting, but they've got sins there, so I don't even work that out. It's been a bit of a dead end there because I couldn't really follow it. But that's what happens in discovery. Sometimes I'm just curious, go down that path. But as it is, I'm a little bit limited here because I've only got the actual Greek, and because I can't read Greek properly, I'm just looking to see if there's any numbers or any words that I can read, and it says surely our sins, amartias, which is actually no, that means sin. So anyway, you've just gone down a little bit of a pathway. We're back now. Let's see what we've got on our notes. Where we're up here. Surely our griefs, our masculine indicating sickness, disease. My notes, physical sickness, and I might just note for my own sake as confirmed by Matthew 8. Can anyone remember the verse? Gotta go back in here, see if I got it up here. 8:17. As confirmed by Matthew 8:17. All right, we're moving along. How long have we been going? Just over an hour. Do you need a break? You can pause. I'm not going to break. I'm just going to keep going. So, because I'm just curious I want to keep moving. I want to speed up a little bit because I'm finding I want to get through this a bit more quickly. Surely, but I did like the surely, so I don't want to jump over. Surely our griefs, he himself, the emphasis on he, I've already got that from the Dairy Prince, himself bore. Let's have a look what bore is. He himself bore. All right, let's have a look at this. A verb meaning to lift, to carry, to take away. Here we go. This verb is used almost 600 times in the Hebrew Bible and covers 3 distinct semantic ranges. This is why I like this translation. Okay, 600 times means it's a broad word. Okay, and it can have so many meanings. You can't just sort of pick and choose. It's going to have some. In this situation, it'll mean this. So it says it's got 3 distinct ranges. The first range is to lift, which is both literal and figurative. To lift the hand in taking an oath, in combat, as a sign in retribution. So, okay, literal. So let's see. Then the flood came upon the earth 40 days, and the water increased and lifted up the ark so it rose above the earth. All right, I get that. Lifted. Physical lifted, and then to lift up your hand in taking an oath. I understand. That works in the English. The word lift can, he gave me a lift, didn't necessarily mean he picked me up physically. He can give me a lift by lifting me up physically. He can give me a lift in a taxi, which is sort of literal, and he gave me a lift by buying me some donuts. Okay, it's I get that. I understand the word lift. I get that works for me. Other figurative statements, including the lifting of the head, the face, lift up your face. Yeah, okay. I get. The English word lift sounds like it has a similar sort of meaning to the Hebrew word in this area. The second category is to bear or to carry, and is used especially in reference to the bearing of guilt or punishment of sin. This flows easily into the concept of the representative or substitutionary bearing of one person's guilt by another. Let me just switch over here. Oh, you can pop it there. By another. Okay, let's have a look at those. Leviticus 10. Why did you not eat the sin offering at the holy place, for it is most holy, and he gave it to you to bear away the guilt of the congregation, to take atonement for them? Okay. Leviticus 6:22. And the goat shall bear on itself all their iniquities to a solitary land. He shall release the goat in the wilderness. Now I recognize what this is talking about, the scapegoat. the goat that they would put the sins on. So the scapegoat is said to bear the thing. So this is something I've already done. If you don't know what a scapegoat is, I thought scapegoat was just a modern term. I had no idea where it came from, but it's actually, the scapegoat is a biblical term from Leviticus, and it means that they would lay their hands on this goat and put the sins of Israel on the goat, and then send the goat off. The goat would take the sins away. So it would bear or carry or lift upon. So the same word. So it's interesting. I should start making some notes here. I've sort of jumped ahead, so I'm just going to let's get the number 5375. 5375, and I'm going to put this. I'm going to get those notes. 5375. And this is for the word bore. Okay. To lift, to take away, it's almost 600 times, but three distinct. The lift is both literal. Oh. And I think that's what I said. And figurative. Yeah, that comes out. Okay. Second is to carry in bearing of guilt or punishment of sin. Southern New Line. Don't you love when you don't copy it first? Did you see that? Not going to edit that out. You're going to have to just lost 30 seconds of your time while I read it. The second semantic category is to bear or to carry, and is used especially in reference to the bearing of guilt or punishment of sin. Okay, and then it was, I think it was Leviticus 5:1. I know. And it was Leviticus 16:22. The scapegoat. Leviticus 16:22. So I'm just going to have here example. Scapegoat. Now the benefit, if we, not going to do it because I want to get on to the other verses, but I might go down a bit of a rabbit trail and follow what it means to be a scapegoat, because the same word for Jesus was used about what that on that goat. So that's an interesting connection. If we understand the scapegoat, we understand a bit more what Jesus was doing. But that's going to move forward. The final category is to take away. I'm going to take the whole note here because there's a couple of things in here that look pretty interesting. Copy that. Final category is to take away. It can be used in the simple sense of taking something away. Oh, so in the sense of taking something, to take a wife or to get married, to take away guilt or to forgive, to take away or to destroy. So that's an interesting little quote, that to destroy. That's why I put that in there. So let's just have a couple of looks. So Genesis 27:3. Now then, please take your gear, your quiver and your bow and go out to the field and hunt game for me. So to bear something is to take it and then to take it away. He didn't just say hold it, he said take it. So please then take your gear, which is the Hebrew word for bear. Okay. Ruth 1:4. They took for themselves Moabite women. Oh, we take them. It's now talking about to take them. That's Genesis 50 verse 17. Thus you shall say to Joseph, please forgive. I beg you, the transgression of your brothers and their sin, for they did you wrong. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the God of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. See, that doesn't see. So where the bear, so please forgive is to maybe, let's go and have a look for it. It's, remember, we've got to know the Hebrew number now. Remember, it's, hang on, let's go back here. So the number we're looking for is 5375. It's used in this verse. Go down the New American. 5375, we've got to find it here. Please forgive. Please forgive is the word that we've been studying. I wonder if it's used a couple of, it is, it's down there. And now please forgive the transgression of your servants. So please forgive. Please forgive. Amplified. Let's have a look what's amplified. Forgive, take up and away all the resentment, all the claim to requital. Okay. So see what the Amplified's done there? Sorry, you probably can't see it because I'm in the way. It's interesting. So shall you say, that's nice, easy to say. So shall you say to Joseph, forgive, and in brackets, so this is this word we're looking at, take up and away all resentment and all claim to requital concerning. Forgive, take up and away. So that's the, okay, that's an interesting take away, to bear, to lift it up, but then to carry it away. Remove, so it's not just take it off me, but take away from me. Take away. One more verse there, Job 32:32. So let's just go back to there. Where are we? Isaiah 53:4. Take, he bore. He can. Oops, wrong one. Born. Nasa, to lift. Sometimes it takes, we've got to get back into it. Enjoy the journey, people. Job 33:22. For I do not know how to flatter, else my maker would soon take me away. He would take me away. Kill me, it sounds like it. Would soon take me away. Or lift. So it's interesting. That's a take away or to destroy. Some means take away is like be carried away for punishment or destruction. In that context, yeah, you can't use it in every context, but in that one, it's lift and take away, to be removed, to be destroyed. What I've gotten from that though is the sense of this word is to lift off, but then to carry away, to remove. So what I'm looking at here is the fact that in our English translation, he himself bore. If I just thought of the English word bore, it would just mean that you put something on them, they're carrying it. All I think is someone bearing the weight. So if I'm lifting a heavy thing with someone else and I'm going up the stairs and I say, oh, this doesn't seem that very heavy. They say, well, it's because I'm bearing all the weight. You're just steadying it, but I'm actually carrying this thing. I'm bearing it. It's I'm holding it up under. I'm lifting it. Okay, but that doesn't, to me, the English doesn't have the second part, which is to bear and bear it away. Do you know what I mean? To lift and remove. But that's definitely in a lot of the other, in those examples, to lift something, but to lift it away. And it's particularly I thought in the Leviticus 16:22, it was they couldn't, the scapegoat had to be that you put the sins on, then the scapegoat had to go away into the wilderness. That was the second half of that. Without that, the goat couldn't just hang around. The goat had to go. So he had to bear the sins, but that meant to take away. So I think that's going to be a key aspect I want to do. He himself bore our sorrow. And our sorrows he carried. All right, let's just have a look at sorrows. Back to the Bible. Our sorrows. You can get from there. H4341, a masculine noun. I don't understand all the masculine and feminine noun stuff. I don't know how it works. Just read past that, people. Masculine noun referring to pain, suffering, sorrow. So at least it says sorrow in this one, but it's actually referring to pain. It depicts pain and suffering borne by the servant of the Lord. So it actually depicts pain. He was literally a man of pain, Isaiah 53, of pain inflicted on him. It indicates a pain placed by the Hebrews, by the Egyptians, and noted by God. Israel brought great pain on herself through her sin. Pain and suffering is the lot of humankind, but the wicked are especially prone to pain and suffering. Even great knowledge may lead to pain in this age. Okay, I would take it from this one that this concept of pain is not as heavily physical as as in the first line. This pain is referring. There's a lot of the internal pain, the suffering, so pain and suffering is part of our lot. Okay, so it's let's just have a look at Psalm 32:10. Many are the sorrows of the wicked, but he trusts in the Lord, loving kindness. Yeah, it's many of the pains, the sorrows, it's painful. Okay, so this one I wouldn't have said has to be physical, but he's literally a man of pain. He understands the suffering and the sorrows and the pain that goes along with what has been in sin. Now that can be obviously physical, but yeah, it's. Let's just take it. This is Hebrews 4:3-4-1. I'll just take it from there. I'm just going to write 4:3-4-1 before I forget, and I've already forgotten. Okay, so this is the word that we're going to do. And our sorrows he carried. Pain, suffering, sorrow. And my notes here, this word does have the does include a sense of internal or soul pain. This is so I'm just looking back at the verse. Surely our griefs, our sicknesses, our illnesses, he has taken upon himself, and he's lifted them off us. And he's taken them away. And our pains, this is, I get it, because of Matthew, it talks about, this is in fulfillment of physical pain, but it's also the suffering, the internal pain. So physical and internal pain he carried. I'd be interested now to see what the word carried is. Okay, he carried. Let's have a look. I think I might only do one verse today. This has been good, but it's an hour and 20 minutes in. carried. Might even just do the first half of this first. To bear a load. Okay, let's have a look at it. Hebrews 5:445. Oh, too quick. A verb meaning to bear a load, to carry. It means to bear, to endure, to carry something, to carry burdens of some kind as a slave or a labourer. Mockingly, it refers to bearing idols, to the suffering servants bearing our sorrows. There it is. Oh, it's repeated there in verse 11. Of the Lord's carrying his people, carrying iniquities or punishments, to general exhaustion. It is used of a cow bearing or carrying its young. So this is where this is what, when I read the word bore, I would more think this definition. So let's grab it. To bear a load, to carry. It means to bear, endure, to carry something. Oh, that's basically what it's already said there. Don't need to refer it to. Let's do this. Bear a load, to carry. To carry burdens. Yeah, so it tends to have the. So I'm just going to make my note here. This is more of what I thought. Okay, so I made that a bit small for everyone there. Sorry if you haven't been able to read that for a little bit. I made it a bit small. How's that? This is more of what I thought for the word bore. To get under something. To carry it. Okay, so look at this verse at the top now. Surely our griefs he himself bore, and our sorrows he carried. I'm just going to grab this part here, and let's bring this to a bit of a point here. Then I'll look at the rest another time. So let's make a little. Surely our griefs. Let's just take what we've learnt and let's rewrite this word, this sentence. Surely. It's not. The word there. What we learnt was it wasn't a sense of shock, but it was surprise. But it was. He, oh, I'm trying to think, oh my goodness. I don't particularly like that phrase, so, but I'm trying to think of how you can express it better. Oh my great Aunt Betty, him. I don't know whether they've recognized him as the Messiah at this point. But it is him. It's him. It's behold my servant in verse 13 of Isaiah 52. It's him. It's him. I'm just trying to see what phrase they use of him. The man of sorrows. He was like one. Because it just said in verse 2, he grew up before him like a tender shoot, like a root out of parched ground. There's no stately form of majesty that we should look upon him, no appearance that we should be attracted to him. But it's him. He's the one who's done it. Surely it's he. Surely he. That's why the emphasis is on him. Oh, he. Him. Surely him. It's him. What I'm trying to think of how I can put this in English. He's him. He's the one that has done this. What has he done? Oh, it's oh. I don't think it works when I say it, but in writing it down, it doesn't really make much. Oh. That could be he. Oh, no, it's oh. I'm going to say my goodness. I actually don't like that phrase because I don't want to. With a few exclamation marks. Oh my goodness. He, him, he's the one that's done this. What's he done? He has our griefs himself bore. I'm going to turn this around. Surely our griefs he himself bore. Just for me, it's he's borne our griefs. It sort of makes sense. He's lifted, and I'm going to make it personal. He's lifted my. Now let's look back here. My griefs is diseases, my sicknesses, my physical sicknesses. He's lifted my sicknesses. Can I say, if I said diseases is like a narrow area for me of sicknesses. So I don't want to say, diseases. What was the other one? Disease or sickness. So I'm going to say sickness because that sort of is more broad. It covers everything. He's the one. He's lifted my sicknesses and removed them away from me. I want to add that because that word lift and removed, it's not they're still not there. He's lifted them and removed them away from me. And then the second part is, and our sorrows he's carried. So I'll do the same thing and sort of talk about carries. And this one is more just lifted off me. And he has lifted off me. What's he lifted? My pains. All the pain. And I'm getting a little bit, I'm just taking what's not written there, but is lifted off me all the pain associated with my rebellion and sin. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. He's lifted off me all the pain, because I want to see what the pain is. The pain is anything that's connected with my own sin and my own rebellion. So he's lifted off me all the pain that is associated with my rebellion. Physical, emotional, and spiritual pain. He's lifted. He has lifted it all. Boy, that's a big long translation, but I just want, it's the pain. Oh, this one, you have to go back and read verse 2 to get the feeling. It's unexpected. Oh, this servant, this one that came. Oh, he's hanging on the cross. He looks like someone who is a criminal. Looks, what's happening here? Oh, he is the one. He's the one. It's him. And look, he's lifting my suffering and my pain. He's taking my sicknesses. He's putting it on himself and he's taking them away from me. He's dealing with them. He's taking them away and dealing with it. I like it. I like that, dealing with it. I know it's not there. He's lifted my receipts and removed them away from me, taking them away and dealing them. Because I see that's what I'm sealing. That's what I see. It's not like I lift it and take it. I'm taking it away to go and to deal with this. You know, how can I even explain this? You know, something that I'm carrying that's on me, and I don't know what to do with it. And he's, give it to me. Give it to me. I've got it. You know, it's maybe, you know, say a snake. A snake is on me. It's dangerous. Its fangs are right there. He takes it, and he just doesn't. Well, he doesn't just sort of wave it around. He takes it away and says, "I'll deal with this. I will remove the danger and the threat. I'll remove the consequences. I'm taking it away. I'm dealing with it." That's what I get. That's what I get the feeling. He took them away. The sense I'm getting from this. Okay, this is what I'm getting. He's taking away and dealing with it. He's taking it away. So later on, I won't meet up with it again. Does that make sense? Imagine if someone took my problems and just, have you ever heard of the phrase, kick the can down the road? Sometimes I've got a problem. I don't know how to deal with it. And I make the decision to kick the can down the road. I can't deal with it at the moment. I'm not sure. It's not so urgent I need to deal with it right now. So I'm just going to reschedule this for down the road. Now, I haven't actually solved the problem. All I've done is move the problem down, and I will have to deal with it. You know, there's meetings sometimes. We're just going to have to move this down. Let's just kick the can. It's not healthy sometimes, because sometimes you've got about 20 cans. They're all down the road, and then rather than deal with them one at a time, suddenly they all come to fruition at the same time. So kicking the can down the road, move the problem further down. It's just being removed from me, but it hasn't really solved it. It's just taken it away from the now and put it into a future time. That's not this word. I don't get that from this word. It's Jesus saying, I'll take it and lift it, and then I'll bear it away, so you don't have to see it anymore. You don't have to deal with it anymore. When you get to heaven, it's not waiting for me. It's not. When I get down the road in my life and in eternity, I'm not going to suddenly go, oh, all you did was just lift it for the moment. No, you lift it, you carried it, you bore it on yourself, and you say, I will take it and deal with it. I don't know what happened, but when he comes back, there's no snake. And it's not as if I walk around the front yard, I get attacked by the snake again. It's dead. I know it. It's gone. I know he's taken it and dealt with it. That's the concept. That's what I've got from this. That he himself it's him. Oh, it's him. He's done it. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see God leaving heaven and taking a body to deal with my sin. What? Surely it's him. He left heaven. Who would have seen that happening? Nobody would leave heaven for us. He's safe, he's secure, he's got it all happening, and he leaves it all and becomes human to die on the cross. Who would have thought? I did not see that coming. Surely it's him. It's him. It's Jesus, the suffering servant, the Messiah, the Son of Man. He's been hanging on a cross, and He's the one that's doing it. And he's becoming my sin. My sin has gone on to him. He's lifted it off me, and he's carrying it, and he's bearing it. He's taking it away. He's not just bearing it. He's bearing it away from me. He lifts it, but then he bears it away. And he just doesn't take it's not just my sin, it's my sickness. He has carried my sickness away. And the pains. Oh, physical pain, but emotional pain, but spiritual. He's taken the pain aspect out of sin. Oh, God, you took that. You lifted that. You lifted the pain off me. Thank you. That's what I have discovered today. Did you enjoy that? I trust you can just capture that that discovery with me. We did 2 lines, sure. 2 lines out of 12. Well, we got somewhere. Surely our griefs he himself bore, and our sorrows he carried. I've enjoyed discovering that. I trust that you have enjoyed the journey with me. I really encourage you just to sit and to meditate and enjoy what that all means, and continue the journey yourself, or join me as I continue. But otherwise, just be so grateful. Just spend time just worshiping God and ministering to him, because he's amazing. Bless you.